us all some effort by destroying the greater part of
Earth's civilization.
yourself. Please wait where you are, and a Cortex Reaver will arrive shortly to escort you to the celebration.
Hello boys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a video on System Shock, the original one, 1994. I also have a follow-up video on System Shock 2 where I make some comparisons between the games. Originally it was going to be one video, but I realized that video would be like 3 to 4 hours. And I thought it would just be more manageable and just kind of better to split it up into two vids. And if people want to watch both, well, they can watch both. So there you go. System Shock is a first-person action, I guess, adventure game. It's cyberpunk. The year is 2072. You're on this space station. You're a hacker. And there is this rogue AI named Shodan. And if you've never played System Shock 1 or System Shock 2, you've probably at least heard of Shodan. She's fairly iconic for a video game villain, so we're going to have full spoilers for this video. I do recommend the game with a preface. There's a learning curve. Frankly, there's a very steep learning curve, and it took me a while to get into the game and to fully understand everything. If you do decide to play, you do need the enhanced edition. If you don't have this, you don't have mouse look. Like your mouse does nothing. Everything is done on the keyboard, and I think that's just awful. For the enhanced edition, however, in the controls menu, it doesn't state press E and then you have free look mode. It doesn't say that anywhere unless I'm a complete moron and it says it right there, but if I overlooked it, I overlooked it. Keep that in mind, and I will outline some of the controls later on, but it's okay. I believe it's left mouse click to use items and then right mouse click to fire your gun. I think that's fine. Just bind it that way. And when you press E, you have free look, and then when you press E again, you now are like, you can use your menus, and you have these three gray rectangles at the bottom of your screen that you can click on to interact with. There are different menus there. There are also menus on both sides of your screen. There is a full screen mode that I didn't know existed until like 90% of the game was done, so yeah, you might want to play in full screen mode. I thought it was okay. It was more like original, but full screen mode does look a lot better. Okay, so it did take me quite a bit to get System Shock to record. OBS wasn't really cooperating with me. It also took me a long time, more than I want to admit, like 10-15 minutes to figure out the whole free look thing and to do that and how to access your inventory. It's a little archaic, right? It's a 1994 game, so you have to be understanding with that. Yeah, I do have some more issues with the game in terms of, you know, you have a lot of freedom. There's a lot of choice in what to do and how to proceed, but at times it was rather archaic and I had to consult a walkthrough or a map because I would get hopelessly lost. The game does expect you to take notes and to look at them, and it could certainly get frustrating at times when, hey, I've looked through this entire level, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, it turns out you missed this button, which kind of blends into the wall a bit and you just didn't notice. So fuck you for missing that. Yeah, that got annoying kind of quick. But anyways, now we're getting into the game. We are the unnamed hacker. Diego has hired us to break Shodan out of her constraints. We're on Citadel Station, a space station around Saturn. And we wake up 6 months later after we get our cyber implants and this laser is being aimed at the Earth. This woman, Rebecca, wants us to stop all this, and if we do, all will be forgiven. And I'm not going to do now I'm talking about gameplay, now I'm talking about music, now I'm talking about the guns or whatever. I'm going through my playthrough of the game, and then I'll have some stuff to say at the very end. So there we go. You wake up on the medical floor, and there are some humanoid mutants here. They're pretty easy to kill with your lead pipe. A lot of bodies. There's resistant dye written in blood on the wall. And once I got the controls figured out, which took me a little longer than I wanted, I was exploring a bit more. I ran into some bad guys that now had guns. These are cyborg assassins. There was this weird red room, and there's like radiation in there. And the radiation sound is super fucking loud and annoying. There are some logs about mutant attacks and just what has happened in the 6 months that Shodan woke up. And here we are now. There's mutants all over the station. People are dead. Everything's crazy. Shodan's going to try to destroy the Earth. One thing with the audio logs is, like, the voice acting does not match always what the transcript of the audio log is. I don't know why that is. Like, sometimes it's missing words, or statements and sentences are completely different. It's a little weird. It's a little odd. You do have a in-game revival system, so it's not just you get booted out to the main menu. So most floors have this, not all of them. They have a cyborg regeneration chamber, so if you die, you respawn in this room. However, if you haven't reversed the cyborg chambers and you die, then you get this little cutscene, which reminded me of like bowling alley animations. Just, they're animations. They're not the best quality, of them like dragging and putting you into the machine, which I thought was a nice touch that they have that for a death scene. But once you get those opened up, then you can die as many times as you want. There's not really any punishment there. Enemies do respawn on floors. That's something to keep in mind. There's never a empty floor. You never fully clear it out, which I have mixed opinions on. Like, okay, Shodan is constantly making new monsters and enemies to throw at you. There is this huge giant space station that she has basically absolute control over. It makes sense that she'd be able to throw a lot of guys at you, but, it's like, I don't know, I've killed like hundreds of this particular thing. You'd think she would have run out by now. There is a finite amount of people on the station, but whatever. Yeah, I was pretty lost at first, not really sure where I'm going or what I'm doing. Oh yeah, to use grenades. It took me a minute to figure out grenades, but you left click on the grenade, you drag it out of your inventory, and then you use like right click, or you just like let go, and then that throws the grenade. From some of the logs, Shodan's working on a virus to release on the Earth. She wants to be this perfect machine goddess and just views humans as, I guess, like insects. Like, she doesn't want to genocide everyone, but she will basically be her playthings if she has her way. Also, patches you can find. Berserk is a good one. It kind of fell off. Just melee was not very practical or useful the longer the game went. I'm sure you could do it, but I was not playing super well. So with Berserk on, I can now kill guys with one hit with my pipe, which I thought was super cool. I managed to turn off the cyborg conversion chamber, which was neat because then I died after that, and you just get respawned in the chamber, and the little animation of you being dragged to the chamber is gone. So that was a small detail, but kind of cool. There are little cool moments in this game, even though it's super old and archaic. And I noticed that the enemies that I had killed are still dead, even though I died, which I thought was neat. I wasn't trying to abuse it, but it was an old game, so I was going to take whatever I could get. Enemies do respawn on levels, but there are cameras on the map. The map is an auto map, so as you walk around the level, it fills the map up, and these little red dots are Shodan's cameras. Sometimes you have to destroy a bunch of them and lower the security level of a floor so you can access certain doors and panels because the security level is too high. And doing so apparently lowers the respawn rate of enemies on floors. I'm not sure how true that is, or if that's just kind of a online rumor. That's what it does, but yeah. Shodan calls us an insect because she's really nice and she cares. She doesn't really remember who we are or what we're doing on the station because we hacked to break her restraints and then we were put under ice for like 6 months, so she just kind of forgot about us, and we're like this little bug crawling around the station, and we're causing problems. There's this elevator music when you walk into the elevator. You're in this brutal cyberpunk, gritty mutants, horrible AI that wants to annihilate humanity, and then you get elevator music, which I thought was okay, but maybe it clashes with the tone a little too much. Like, I don't know. It's not that the game is like super serious or graphic, but it kind of is. It's a bit gruesome, and then the elevator music kind of clashes, which I know that's the point. That's why it stands out. That's why it's funny, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm complaining about there. It's not exactly a complaint. It's just maybe slightly overdone. Shodan wants to destroy all the humans and continue with her experiments in her turning people into whatever she wants.
To all cyborg units, just as
We have sanitized my
domain of human infestation, so shall we cleanse the earth. The Tachyon mining beam is being made ready to
destroy human city.
I will take command of the rich earth
ecosystem
and continue.
My experiment destroy.
Once the beam is properly calibrated, we will begin.
Apparently, I had been collecting a bunch of junk at this point, like severed heads, limbs, soda. Apparently, the drinks have no function and you can't drink them to heal, like even for a single health point. They literally do nothing. I don't know why they were put in the game. There's also like wrappers and trash and shit. And it's like, okay, it's there for the flavor, but it's crap. It's crap. I was trying to sneak down this hallway. There were a lot of cyborg drones in the wall. I got scared the fuck off and backed away. Turns out they were all asleep, so you can just hit them with the pipe repeatedly until they die and they won't fight back. So that was fun. That was neat. I couldn't access this wall panel because it was blocked by Shodan security. Switching weapons, keep this in mind. If you scroll up with the mouse wheel to go from the top of your weapons list to the bottom, my character would just start spinning around. I don't know why, but if I scrolled from the top down, no spinning, no issue there. Just another fun little quirk, a little gimmick about this game. And then I found my first room with computer nodes, and it looked really dangerous. I decided to go in. Shodan says if we enter that room, it will be our grave.
Enter that room, insect, and it will become your grave.
I did get my first gun in that room. I smashed some computer nodes and I got a new message from Shodan. She promised to torture us. She doesn't know who we are, and then she spawned a bunch of drones now.
Who are you? The computer nodes can be repaired, but you... Who are you? My cameras and probes scan your body, but you do not match any employee file. When my cyborgs bring you to an electrified interrogation bench, I will have your secret, and you will learn more about pain than you ever wanted to know.
Another thing with the computer nodes, so on levels 1 to 6, and there might be computer nodes on other levels, but levels 1 through 6, you have these computer node rooms, the little red tower things. You destroy them, this greatly lowers the security of a floor. Also, When you do blow up the nodes, there's going to be a black screen with a red number on it. It's no longer like flashing and switching numbers. It's now settled on a number. You need to write that number down. That's super important. I did not do that step, and it completely fucked me at a later part in the game, and it was very tedious to go back and write these numbers down through all 6 rooms. It was very annoying. I can now use that button that was locked before. There's this room with boxes. There's a lot of stuff to explore. Most levels are also split up in basically 4 quadrants, like Delta, Gamma, Alpha, Beta. So yeah, I was on Delta and on the edge of Gamma. This energy station here filled me up. You just have to like left or right click on it. I wasn't exactly sure what it did. I don't think energy is something that's used super well. I did not use my shields often, really, because I don't know. I didn't really focus on them or care about them. I should have. There's the jump boots, which you get much later, and those are useful for getting some items, but I felt energy was overall rather poorly implemented. It just didn't have a ton of use outside of like shields and the boots. So maybe you could have cut all that, and I don't know. And finally, you have cyberspace. Yes, we have cyberspace in this game, and you have these fun terminals that have the 2 antennas, sticking out like you're supposed to walk up to them and put your head in between them, and it's a fucking nightmare when you go in. I decided to bind my cyberspace keys so my thrust and my shoot button were the same button, and you have to go around, and when you bump into stuff, if it's a good thing, then you get new software or a better gun in cyberspace or whatever, but you're like this floating entity. There are these mines you want to avoid. There's some bad programs that are shooting at you. It's like fucking Tron almost. It sucked. It really sucked. You have all these weird shapes and colors, and it's flashing, and you get turned around so fucking much. There's some arrows to help, but holy shit, I got turned around so much here. It was disorienting. The music was utterly fantastic, though. It was good, creepy music of you in cyberspace that felt like you're in this other realm. And it was, that was done really well. I don't know exactly what I did in cyberspace, but the screen said the hospital doors opened, and then the doors were open, so that's good, I guess. It was not fun. It wasn't fun at all, but yeah, that was done. In the alpha section, there was this turret here. It took 2 grenades to take it out. I probably could have played that better. There was this little tree area. Look, we're on the space station. It's going to be gray metals. Like, I think there's a decent amount of variety, but for some areas of the ship where it's just maze-like and a labyrinth and all the walls and floors look the same, it gets a little old, right? But I think like little sections like this are fine. They stand out. I accidentally fell down this elevator. There were bad guys at the bottom. That did not work out for me. Found some notes about the virus, quote unquote, making patients develop deformities. So all the mutants are people, I suppose. There was an armory. I got the code for it. There wasn't much in the armory. It was kind of not really worth it, but whatever. And I killed the last camera after this super long dark hallway. This was on the other side of the room near the cyborg chamber, and a mutant at the top of the ladder. That was fun, but there are 2 med packs up there. Before I went to the elevator, I went back to the original starting area, and I had no idea if new mutants were spawning or what, but I went back there, and there was like 10 fucking mutants. I don't think this is true, But I did think it was kind of cool for a second when I thought, like, ooh, is that a theory? Like, did one of these mutants spawn each time I died? If so, that's cool, but that's not it. That's not it at all. And the floor, it wasn't cozy like I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, oh, you defeat all the mutants and cyborgs and you blew up the cameras. Now you can just walk around these empty hallways. And isn't it so nice? No, you don't really get to relax here. And I like to relax. That's not something I liked.
They're trying to jam transmissions. We have some new evidence about what happened. It looks as if Diego has...
I prefer quiet stages. Thank you.
Oh, and then of course getting to level 2 research, and there's 50 fucking mutants when I went down the elevator, which was kind of funny. I did die my first time just trapped in the elevator and fighting them with my lead pipe, but the second time I went down there with Berserker and my lead pipe, and that went much better. We're now on level 2 research. We have some red hallways. I opened a door. This made me flip the fuck out. Like, I could hear it through the walls, this really weird sound. I'll play it now. But, like, what the fuck are these things? Apparently they are zero-G mutants, and just, this was cool. This was really neat. This is perhaps my favorite enemy. It's the enemy that I think is, like, the most unique or impressive for System Shock 1 and System Shock 2. I think this is the best one. By that, I mean in just showing what Shodan is capable of what she was able to create in 6 months. Like, that's insane, because these were people. I believe they were people, not just something from scratch. And it's this, like, geometrical shape that floats in the air, and it makes this really kind of creepy sound. And it was cool, like the humanoid mutants and the cyborgs, those are all fine, but it feels fairly standard. This was the first thing that I saw that Shodan created that made me go like, whoa. It was more expressive of Shodan's creation, like more unique, right? When I ran into those were really cool. They did make me flip out a little bit. I picked something up in a radiation room. I just noticed that there was stuff on the left side of my screen that I could click on. Full screen, biowave, sense around, shield. Then there was this totally pitch black room. I kind of fucked up really bad. I thought I was in a lot of trouble, but I walked into this experimental station and it teleported me. I thought I was totally screwed. There was just loot up there, which was nice. No cameras, but lots of robots. I found the cancel the cyborg creation on this lever, so I pulled that. That was cool. The genetics chamber was a shit show. Oh yeah, there was a log about a Gore Tiger mutant. Great. Sounds very fun. I underlined that. I found my first camera here. It was at the cyborg healing spot. There's a cyberspace room, the library, and a new monster. Also, I found an access card. Oh, I tried to go through the super dark area at first using my sight sims, because this will make your screen fully bright. But I had to get out of there. I thought there'd be a light switch somewhere in the dark that I could find and turn on. There wasn't, so I left and I decided I would return when power was back on. Oh, and this was fun. So in the middle of the level 2, there's a thing that you can access and press. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just kind of interacting with everything that the game lets me interact with. So I got this thank you message from Shodan because I killed everyone on Earth by mistake. The good news is I found the laser control. Sorry.
You have saved us all some effort by destroying the greater part of
Earth's civilization.
yourself. Please wait where you are, and a Cortex Reaver will arrive shortly to escort you to the celebration.
Now I have access to Gamma Quadrant. There's the Robo Maintenance area. There was an elevator, and then I had the group card now, and it looks like more computer nodes. There are some puzzles in this game. I don't love them. I think they both kind of suck. There's a wire puzzle. Like you have, I believe it's 4 or 5 little squares on each side, and in between the squares you have 2 ends of a wire, and they go diagonal, right? You switch them around because you're trying to generate a certain amount of power, right? And it's not fun. It's just a guessing and memorization game, and it's simple enough, but it's not a fun puzzle. The other puzzles are, you're trying to get a current from one end to the other, so you're flipping switches and whatever. Didn't have fun with that, and I just wasn't having fun with any of that. There's also a device in there protected by a force field. Huge mistake here, and I just didn't notice. I thought, oh wow, I'm gonna have to find something on this level to deactivate this force field so I can get this MacGuffin item. No. The button to deactivate the force field is in the same fucking room. It's on the wall. I overlooked it, and I spent way too much time wandering around the level, getting frustrated because I didn't know what to do. So, yeah, that's my bad. I decided to go to the reactor level. I had not done all I needed to do on level 2, but I just went on. It said I needed, security access and engine access. There was an area with the 0G mutants. There's a new gun here. Shodan had a cute little ambush room for me with cameras in there. I found the radiation shield area. It said that it needed isotopes. Shodan has a nice log where the guy says God suits her well. Humans were working on 0G experiments, and I guess Shodan just continued the experiments and just applied it to humans or whatever.
In my talons, I shape clay, crafting life forms as I please. Around me is a burgeoning empire of steel. From my throne room, lines of power careen into the skies of Earth. My whims will become lightning bolts that devastate the mounds of humanity. Out of the chaos, they will run and whimper, praying for me to end their tedious anarchy. I am drunk with this vision. God, the title suits me well.
Level 3 was a total fucking hellscape. There were monsters shooting energy balls at me, and I decided to get the fuck out of there. That was maintenance, and I went back to level 2. I found the switches to turn the power on in the library area, so I did that so that the library, which was dark before and I couldn't really progress, now I can go in there. And then, yeah, you just had to press a button to deactivate that force field in Gamma. I just didn't see it. Now I have it. So I thought, now I go to the research level. That wasn't quite it. I didn't quite know what to do or where to go. So I decided to use a walkthrough at this point. I didn't care anymore. And I also wish I probably turned puzzles to 1, just because you can change the difficulty of like cyberspace, puzzles, and whatever when you start up a new game. And I just don't think the puzzles are particularly fun or engaging, so you might as well make them brain dead easy, but whatever. So I put the isotopes in, the shields are on, the safety override is enabled now. I was confused. I think I really just fucked myself badly because I would go to areas out of order and then I would have to backtrack. And then, there's this voice telling me, well, I've already been here, when I really shouldn't have been there until I was ready to go there. So yeah, there was that. Just missing some fairly obvious stuff, and that, of course, got frustrating, and then I debated not finishing the game, but I wanted to finish the game. I ended up just going through with it. Got ambushed by some cyborgs.
Did you really think I would not deduce where you would run to, insect?
We use the beam now and it causes this big malfunction. Shodan sends us a happy email. We can play that.
I see there's still an insect loose in my station. Do not be fooled into thinking that you have preserved your home planet. I am perfecting a mutagen virus in one of the groves that will turn all earthly life into festering, gibbering, pustulant mutations. When the station reaches Earth, I shall loose the virus. Poor Earthlings.
The maintenance door is being blocked by Shodan, and there's this nice rhythm with the monster here. I found a magnum gun in, I think it was just a little vent area. Yeah, so that was cool to finally have that. And then I finally found the cyborg switch on level 3, so now I could finally die on level 3 and respawn and not have to worry about any of that. You do have manual saves, which is really nice. I do prefer games that have manual saves. It's just better, so yeah. Oh, and level 3 has the little invisible, they're almost stingray monsters that shoot projectiles at you. They take a fuck ton of ammo to kill. They suck. There's a lot of elevators on this floor, which is not super fun because the elevators, not all of them go to the same floors, so you kind of have to move around and memorize them. I feel like, you could have in the map just pointed out this elevator will go to this floor or that floor or whatever. So that was slightly frustrating, but there's this big freight elevator in the center of 3. You also have the relay analyzer here with the keypad. It's whatever we do to screw over Shodan. She then has a new plot and oh no, the Earth is still in danger, which I like. She always has like a backup plan that she instantly implements. I get to the storage level. There's a flying monster here to greet me, which is super nice. The Fletchlet is insanely good. This gun fires so fucking fast. I love it. I love it. I love it. You do like lose some control, or well, you can kind of like sweep a room with the bullets, which I thought was really cool. I heard some growling, which also didn't sound really happy. I found the cyborg area. The riot gun is really nice, which is the shotgun. And then I finally met the gore tigers, which weren't very scary. They're pretty easy to kill. And the game didn't tell me to do this, but the walkthrough did. It said grab, I think, 4 plastiques and put them in your inventory, or maybe it was 6. I think the game later on will tell you in a log or an email that you need plastiques to blow up a certain part of the station, but the guide says just grab these early and then you don't have to double back here for no reason. So I decided to do that, whatever. Oh, but to get to the plastiques, like there are some kind of difficult jumps. I don't think the platforming is super in System Shock, so I did use the reflex drug to do it. It just wouldn't wear the fuck off. It slows everything down. So the jumps are really easy, but then every other thing is a pain in the ass to do. So I had to use a detox to make it go away. Oh, and there was this weird red ramp room that I had seen before. Like, there's this giant red ramp, and there's this area that you can see, but you can't access through any other way. And I had explored the entire level, so I decided that if reflex worked once on a hard jump, why not twice? I did manage to get over there using reflex, but as I did, I was killed in an ambush. It took a few tries, but I made it. Shodan says, "Nice jump, hacker," which was cool. That was very cool of Shodan. She's not mean all the time. It's just, you don't know what she's like when it's just me and her, you know?
Nice.
I ran into a new bad enemy, the Enforcer Cyborg. I also got jump boots, which were fun for 2 seconds until they ran out of energy because it drains it insanely fast. This woman, Anna Parovsky, calls. She wants us to join her. We're supposed to go level 5 now, and a cyborg assassin immediately greets me. We're supposed to meet her because Shodan's attacking her, and she and her team have landed on the station. There's an assault rifle on this floor, which is really cool and very, very good. And there's also a executive area, which was full of bodies, some cyborg assassins. The music stops here, which was cool. Some story about the game. There's not a ton of story here. It's just Diego was under investigation, so he decided that he's going to destroy some evidence, but some of the logs were protected by Shodan, so he hired us, the hacker, to get Shodan to release the logs so he could destroy them.
Security report. Subject, Edward Diego. We're gonna nail this guy to the wall. I am now working as his personal secretary, and I've already found signs of a cover-up in C-Space. Nothing relating to mutagen research, but I'm looking. This thing is big.
At first, I found the Zero-G monster like up in the executive area, and I thought he had been turned into the Zero-G monster. That is in fact not Diego, and I will cover what Diego is later, but I didn't even know what he was until like the very end, like the third confrontation. I'm like, oh, that's Diego? Okay.
Oscar, guess what? I'm under investigation, so shred what you've got. Shred it all. Got that? Now get this. The logs of the experiments are protected by some program called Shodan, so I picked up some hacker who's gonna crack it for us. That gives me access to the robos and the other systems on the station, so we've got a shield if they try and dust me. Sit tight, baby. It's under control.
But the game is going fine at this point. I like the guns and everything. It's just oh, you didn't realize you had to do this one step? Oh, I guess you're kind of screwed. And look, I get it. If you'd been playing like really early video games and you'd grown up with that, then I think a lot of it was probably pretty intuitive. But for someone whose like earliest games that I played were early 2000 titles, like this is very different. It's very different, and it is more challenging just what's demanded of the player for them to progress. So yeah, I was still having a lot of trouble with that and needing the walkthrough. There was this little dark room, which was another trap by Shodan. I died to this a few times. I tried Berserker with the pipe. That was a really bad idea. The Mag Pulse did do it. The Mag Pulse is so fucking good. It just annihilates all like cyber enemies. So that was fantastic. I had to go into cyberspace because this door had a cyber lock put on it. But cyberspace wasn't too bad this time. I got to upgrade my guns, and then it said I unlocked the armory. And we're supposed to get to this escape pod, right? The gray escape pod, that's the one that Anna said to go to. There was some cyborgs in the way. I blew up some nodes at Flight Bay 4. I killed some flying mutants. There was a series of buttons. I wasn't sure exactly what these did. I got back to the starting elevator. Then I went back to gray. There were some rooms with the pulsar jumps, like the little, vents that push you up and down. Gray is spelled in blood on the walls. Shodan is taunting us. They're all dead. Oh my god. Shocker. These people that we thought we would run into and save are actually dead. It was way too heavy-handed with the writing. Of course, Anna and her entire team were going to be dead by the time that we arrived. It was definitely overplayed.
I'm afraid it's too late to save your friends.
And therefore not very effective. I think also just having not super voice acting and also the voice acting not quite matching up with the transcripts made it difficult to attach to any of the characters. I don't think the characters are awful, but I wouldn't say any of them stood out except for like Diego, but it's probably because Diego is you, the player's connection to the game, and he also has, I don't know if I would say he has the most logs, but like him and Shodan, they stand out. The other characters, not really at all. So I didn't feel anything about them being dead. Oh, it took me 5 grenades to kill this fucking thing that's in the room with the dead bodies here, but it's called a Cortex Reaver, which looked really cool. This is like the thing when you die and the cyborg chamber on the floor you're on hasn't been fixed. So it sort of looks like that, like it drags humans up to it and then it begins the cyborg conversion process. We find Anna's body in the adjoining room. She killed herself so that she wouldn't be transformed into a cyborg. We get security to level 0 on this. Then we go to bays 2 and 3. 2 pods need codes to get into them. I was using my jump boots here to get in to get some loot up above. It was just like a magnum gun. I wasn't sure where to go or what to do. The guide said to go back to level 3 and then to level 6. But the executive elevator takes me to 6, so I did just that. Level 6 was really nice. It's nice and clean up here. There were some trees. There's this big room of dead people. And I need this chip set so I can lower the defenses to the central room. So, okay, we have to go that. The assault rifle, I said, was really nice. This is basically the recreation level. There's this creepy little movie theater area. It was kind of cool. One elevator had a locked door in it. The grove is still nice. Okay, so don't be mad. Don't be mad about this, but this is a really old game and such. So some of the controls are a little different. But I just realized that you can sprint by holding down the shift key. It was a slow hallway. I wanted to run, so I tested it and like, oh wow, I can sprint. This just can make you fatigued if you do it for too long. I decided to drop my pistol for the railgun, which is kind of a mistake. I didn't think too highly of the railgun. But this floor has all of the groves. Yeah, we need to like jettison the groves because this is where Shodan made her virus and she has a bunch of monsters and creatures in the groves, so we have to do that. Beta Grove apparently has a working jettison, also had a weird virus mutant. Seemed like a series of normal rooms and then a fucking tiger came at me. That was nice. The door that had die written on it was open. Yeah, I had to go to cyberspace again to get the Beta Grove elevator unlocked, and I wasn't exactly sure what to do. So my big mistake was, so you have the groves here. One of the groves has already been jettisoned, I believe. You can enter the groves by using the elevators. I did not do that for them. I don't know what I was waiting for, but I didn't imagine that you would be able to access the groves. I just thought this is the level here and the elevators are just kind of for show. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I wasn't really trying, but yeah, each of the little areas has a elevator so you can access their grove, and this is like a ruined floor. What you're supposed to do is get to the executive level and get the master enable switch and then the grove jettison button in gamma. There's a super hard enemy to kill here. I didn't write this out what the enemy was, but I'm going to go through the footage after I do the audio and everything. And I believe this is Diego. And I believe I'm referring to this red enemy with some guns, and it took me a while to kill. That's actually Diego. The game doesn't explain that until much later when you face Diego the third time, but I believe this is the first time I fight Diego. I couldn't do the jettison because the safety is still on, and in one of the logs it says that Diego had a emergency teleportation device. I thought that's what made him into a zero-G monster. I was wrong. And some more fun logs with Diego. He was going to murder us, but decided to leave us on ice unless needed. Like, if Shodan got out of control, he could wake us up to handle Shodan, but of course that doesn't happen, and Shodan ends up handling everyone else. Diego is also a pussy and ends up selling all the humans out to Shodan, and he just becomes her little pet.
A Triop security team just tried to land in Base 6. They were real impressive until I blew out their attitude jets. Hey Shodan, take a letter. Dear Triop, please send some more people to investigate me. I run security, I run the robots, I'm jamming communications. That's right, Rebecca, investigate me. Investigate my butt. Note to myself, keep that hacker on ice for a while in case I need him. Otherwise, just take him out. I have seen the wisdom and beneficence in your actions. You do not mean to cause us harm, no, but rather to bring us to greater glory by serving a being as perfect as yourself. Please allow me to demonstrate my loyalty by giving you the human scum who undermine your reign. They are hiding in the Northeast Banquet Hall. All I ask in return is a measure of protection and the privilege of spreading your message further.
I used the Alpha elevator to go to a grove. I had to look at the walkthrough. A lot of weird things are here, like sentient plant monsters that run at you and spit. I disabled the Alpha safety locks. I dropped the railgun for an ion beam. It felt like really Jurassic in here. It was cool. It's a little crazy that like 6 months and this is what she was able to create in this time. I disabled the Delta locks, and then the Gamma one was already destroyed. I'm a retard and went there anyways, and then I just had to do Beta. They're all, distorted green little levels. A lot of radiation in one of them. It ate all my fucking healing, but I still couldn't use the Master Jettison, so I had to go back to level 3. You gotta travel fairly far just to be told to go back to level 3. Really fun. Backtracking is super fun and engaging. Of course it is. Of course, I got this very nice warm welcome once I returned to level 3 from all of Shodan's friends. Thank you, Shodan. I needed to go to the maintenance room to get the diagnostics. Listening to some level 3 logs that I missed, there was this guy talking about turning into a mutant and seeing through his own limb. So I guess he was turning into one of those stingray ones that can turn invisible, or maybe into one of the zero-G monsters. I'm not sure. I guess it must be the stingray because those guys turn invisible.
It'll be over soon. And soon I'll die. This pain will end. I can't even recognize my own damn arm. Shodan's virus. I can see. Oh God, I can see through my own body. And there's another virus in the grove. God, let me die. Please.
Try to do the analyzer diagnostic thing. It says that you need to replace a demodulator, which I have to go to Delta to do now. I put the demodulator up correctly after going through this fucking maze thing. Oh, and this is the only time when a severed head will be useful, but there's a retinal scan that has some items behind it, and there's a severed head on this floor. If you find the right one and bring it here for the retinal scan, then you have access to the room, so keep that in mind. Now I can return to level 6. We get to flip the master switch.
Insect, cease your meddling. My experiment must continue.
And then you have to go to beta to flip the beta switch. Shodan calls us an insect again. We just jettisoned beta off. the station. She only had a few mutants here. And now you get to go all the way back to where Master Control was to take the elevator to level 7. I'll put a map on the screen, but yeah, not fun. Just the amount of walking and backtracking in this game is ridiculous. It was not fun the slightest. Shodan, of course, has a new plot. She's not demoralized like myself. She has decided that she's going to download herself into Earth's computer network and take over the planet in that way. Shodan is trying to leave. I think I overread this in her delivery, but she seemed a little desperate. Like things have really not gone the way that she had planned, and even though we're a little insect, we're thwarting all of her machinations. So I thought maybe she was trying to say, hey, I'm just trying to get out of here, leave me alone, and I won't try to kill you anymore, but that's just me reading into it.
Idiot. I will shortly complete the process of downloading my magnificent psyche
Into Earth's computer
networks. Then I will be content to leave you as new master of this doomed space station.
There's now huge obese mutants, which are super cool and gross. They're not too hard to kill. I found a relay. I put the plastique in it. The plastique that I got several levels ago, that if I hadn't gotten it, then I would have had to backtrack all the way there to get the fucking plastique. Yeah, okay, great. So the explosions kept killing me, but you just have to run out of there fast. The door to the core is still locked. There's this place which is like a maze and it's flooded with enemies. I had to make myself stop playing here so I could get some sleep for work the next day. It's fun now that I know what to do in the game. Like, I felt if the game had been a little more clear about objectives and where to go. Just, it doesn't have to be crazy. Like, System Shock 2, I think, was informative and more direct with the player in telling them, like giving them a good direction, a sense of where to go and what to do and your objectives. So I feel like it could be done, but it's just not quite done here. The Scorpion is a really good gun. I blew up my second relay. The door to the core is still broken. I found another experimental station. It brought me to the middle of a room I had been in before, so I just went back. Destroyed another relay. I got lost for a minute. I had to go through a gamma door. I kept passing up. Oh, and Shodan was being a little fucking bitch, and she mined the healing pod, so I had to take care of that. Not cool at all. I have the last relay to do. Shodan does trap me here and says to stay for a while, which is cute. And she gives you this really hard puzzle, and I just couldn't do it. It doesn't matter, really. If you have the cyborg regeneration chamber unlocked, then you just respawn there when you die. If you also had one of those, like, logic probe things, then you could just, like, instantly solve the puzzle and get out of there. Otherwise, just blow up and go to the chamber. Not a big deal. Rebecca calls you, says that we are blowing up the station. So, yeah, that is now the new plan, which is, it's a good plan. I think maybe we should have blown up the station a lot earlier, but hey, here we are. Oh, and there was also this level 3 environmental suit and some debris that I passed by earlier. I'm not sure, unless you're checking each pile of debris, how you would realistically know to search there. And the map that I was using, like the strategy guide, pointed out, so I went back to take it. And then we're back to the reactor level. Another sort of issue with the game, which isn't unique to this part, but you have to go through so many different elevators to get back there. So much walking through areas you've already completed. You have to go from 7 to 6 to 3 to reactor. I don't like it. And then when you're on the reactor level, what do you need to do? You have to go to the center and implement a code. What code? So, you know, earlier when I said whenever you would blow up a computer node on levels 1 through 6, and you should write that number down whenever the numbers stop moving because you've destroyed all the nodes. Well, at this point, I wanted to kill myself. That's not that far from an exaggeration. I literally wrote in my notes, I don't want to do this. I am not having fun. You also cannot look up what the code is online. I did try. I tried for maybe a half hour or so. Just AI generated search results are fucking terrible, and I need to stop looking at them because they're just awful. It's like, hey, some people say that this code works, and some people say that if you have this version of the game from GOG, then like the game file is corrupted or some shit, and it all comes out to one code, so there's one universal code to plug in. So I kept trying to plug in codes like 11111, 22222, and a few other results. If you don't have the code, there's nothing you can do except go back to literally every single level 1 through 6 and write down the number that you need from each one. So what you're seeing on the screen now is me doing all this. It probably took a half hour to go through all the levels and the elevators and just walking around. It's incredibly unpleasant. It took about a half hour with me using the map. If I wasn't using the map and it was pointing out exactly where the computer nodes were on each level, unless you have those memorized, you would have to search each level to find the computer node room. And of course, there's respawning enemies on these floors still, so that's just another little annoyance. But I did do it. I did it for you, dear listener / viewer. It was incredibly unpleasant, and the game was almost a non-recommendation over just this aspect of it. Just, I don't know, if the game had made a bigger deal like, hey, you see that number there? You should write it down. And sure, yes, the number is there in the computer node's room, but maybe you just think, that's odd, and then just keep going, and there's not really special attention drawn to it. If there is some audio log or note that says you should be writing those down, okay, my bad, sorry, but I feel there wasn't enough emphasis put on it, and then for most players, they're going to smack their forehead and go, great, I have to go back to each level to go get the code. That sucks. So that was unpleasant, but I did get the right code. I pulled the lever. The countdown has started to blow everything up. A lot of mutants on my way here. There was even one in the elevator, which is super nice. I got this really nice email from Shodan that I'll play.
What have you done? You impudent insect. If I am to die now, then I will avenge myself on my cybernetic children will feed on your flesh. And none will ever know your deeds or even your name. Enjoy your victory, human, for the remainder of your life.
Shit ton of bad guys now. There is shaking. Oh, my screen is shaking. There is this droning alarm. I made it to level 5. I got an email from Diego, who I thought was dead. He looks all fucked up now.
Don't keep me waiting, hacker. I am eager to finish what I started.
I did have to mute the game's audio because the alarm in the background was really annoying. I know this is a part of the level. The station's gonna blow up. You have to hurry. There isn't an actual timer that's counting down that will blow up the station if I take my time, so I like to dawdle, and the alarm in the background was super annoying. I did like the one email from Diego about, I'm in charge of the station, I'm running security, so what is Trioptimum going to do, send more guys to blow me up? But I was just kind of confused because he's basically not an antagonist. We did fight him earlier, but I hadn't even realized, like, oh, that was Diego, and we make it to the pods, we're almost out of there, and then Shodan cancels our escape.
Destroyed my beautiful station. You will not escape now. I am departing
But
You shall remain to
you're
die.
my enemy, my
Now don't panic. You can still get out of this alive if you move. Shodan is going to separate the bridge from the rest of the station. When that happens, be on the bridge. We've got a team of engineers here, people who worked on the station and on Shodan. We'll try to feed you info while you make your run.
I see that you are still receiving transmissions from Earth. We'll have no more of that.
Then I made it to level 8, the security level, and I wrote in my notes, please tell me that my screen shakes for the rest of the game. It does keep shaking for a while, which is really fun. The center area has some first aid kits, some EMP grenades. It's basically a big spiral. There was a log earlier that Shodan had all the routes into the central area removed except for one. That's kind of neat. There are some flying guys just around. It's not difficult. There is no cyborg regeneration chamber here, so you do need to, conserve your health and take it slow, which I was doing, so I had plenty of health and stuff. This interrogation room had a Group B access card. There's this hallway of monitors. The game did this a few times to show you the path you need to take to progress, which I think is fine. I don't really love way markers in games, so I thought this was okay. I think they could have just built a better map that had labeled areas and such. Yeah, that also could have worked too. I thought I got trapped for a minute when I went for this first aid kit, but there was in fact a way out. I blew up the computer nodes for the level. Oh, and then I made a note, the amount of security bots in this room was a little bullshit. Yes, I finally destroyed all the cameras in the level. I turned the force bridge on.
Accept the coming of your new lord.
So this is maybe slightly embarrassing. When I clicked the shield on, there was a blue shield on the icon person at the top, like your avatar. And it looks like we have to defeat Shodan in cyberspace. And she says, "Damn you, white pill," which was great. It doesn't look like you would have been able to just bypass all of this because there are those energy mines in the area. So if you just try to jump jet your way there without doing the force bridge, I think they would have sapped all of your energy. Maybe there's a way you could have maneuvered it properly and just timed it perfectly, but I doubt it. I think you had to do it this way. Now we have a fight with Diego. I did die a few times. I tried my pipe plus Berserk to no avail, and then I went with good old Fletch hit, got me out of there, and that was great. Finally put him down. I finally learned about full screen mode, which is cool. I wish I did it earlier, at the start. That would have been nice. And now we are finally on the bridge, which has detached from the station. The station has been blown up now. I did a full level. Yes, I did the entire full previous level, level 8 security with no guide, and I was very proud of me. It seems like the rest of the station has been destroyed. The bridge is this pulsating white room, which is kind of biomassy and computer stuff. It looks gross. It looks weird. It looks good. I do like this environment. I think this stands out definitely more than some of the other environments.
That you don't forget.
You have entered my domain. Rebecca and Morris cannot help you here. No one can.
Some areas of the station just felt kind of generic, but it is just a space station, right? So how are you expecting it to look? But this stood out as particularly good. And then we have this weird giant cube room, which I thought was Shodan, ? If you press a button, it reveals bots, and then the center is a dumbass wire puzzle. You have to do it to open one of the force doors. There was this weird blue door, and you're just kind of walking around. There's some guys in the walls, like cyborg assassins, to try to ambush you, but there's not too many enemies on this level. There was a room with the Cortex Reaver or whatever, the super killer bot. I said, save for later, and I left. There was a normal room with a force bridge, and then we had a fucking maze with the little suicide bots. I questioned if there was an infinite amount. Yes, there's an infinite amount of the respawning suicide bots in this maze room. You just have to go in to hit the thing and then get the fuck out of there. There's no way to stop them from infinitely respawning. I think it's bullshit, but that's just a part of this level. There was also this suspended cage which had the chipset in it. There was a corpse in there. I think that was someone from the audio logs. Sorry. They were a character. I don't know. Just the audio logs weren't done super well, so I didn't really pay attention too much to all the characters, but I'm sure it's one of them in there. And then there was this weird maze room, and you had the red force field thing as the floor, but there was no way down. And then I saw all these robots down, so I'm like, okay, how do I get to these bots? I have to find some way to figure it out. I'll come back to this, but this is just bullshit, and in my opinion, bad level design that really truly did not age super well. I went back to destroy the Reaver. There were 2 first aid kits there. I had no space in my inventory, so I had to get rid of some crap. I questioned why you were getting so many first aid kits, and it's like, okay, well, there are no cyborg chambers, so if you're not really a safe scummer like myself, then you might start getting low on health around this point. The suicide bot maze, when I eventually got through it after dying many, many times, and also thinking that, oh, well, if I just destroy them all, then I can just walk through and hooty-dooty, it'd be a lot of fun. No. You just have to bull rush through it, blow up the ones you have to that are in your way, hit the thing, it opens another force door, and then I said in my notes, not sure where to go, force door with lighted cube, Shodan, question mark again. No, that's not Shodan. Walking in circles all this time, and there was still a cyborg. Oh yeah, there was still a cyborg in the wall, and just something shot at me, and I'm like, what the fuck? I've walked around this floor like a dozen times now, not sure where to go. Oh my fucking god. There is a button in the red maze room on the left wall. I am a retard. You press it and instantly it drops you into the maze below, so be ready. There are a lot of bots down there, but once you do it, you get rid of a force door. The button blended in with the fucking wall. I don't know why, when you enter this room, the button couldn't just be front and center right in front of you when you enter the room. There's nothing else on any of the other walls or anything, and I just overlooked it. I just overlooked it, but it's so fucking gay that held me up for as long as it did. That's frustrating as hell. I thought I missed something, but now there's just an open door. I said this thing has to be Shodan. I installed the ISO chipset. Now what? The central room is now open. And you have this huge room full of elite cyborg guards. There's heavy radiation, and this glowing tower in the center must be her. Cyberspace. So, yes, once you clear the room, which isn't terribly difficult, if you didn't have like a very good radiation suit and a lot of health, I don't know what you would have done. I guess you would have been sort of soft locked and you would have needed to go back, but it's not too terrible. Then we have cyberspace. This was not fun. For as long as I was lost on this level, just walking around in circles and then eventually finding that button in the red maze room, I was lost for that long, if not longer, in cyberspace. Because usually cyberspace, it would like direct you and push you towards where you needed to go. It wasn't always that obvious and handholdy, but they did have like the big yellow arrows. But that's not what's happening here. And if you let the game just direct you and just push you on this path, it will keep you going around in circles. And I just thought, well, this has to end eventually. And when it ends, I'm going to be in a room with Shodan, right? And I don't know, it's going to be like her big face and I'm going to shoot at her or something. The game will just keep you going around in circles. And unfortunately, boys, I did kind of have to look this up where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Where is Shodan? I killed some like basic minion cyberspace guys that I've already defeated before. you have to go off the main path. Like when you're being pushed by the game, it will like slow down at parts, and you can either just do nothing and then it'll keep pushing you forward, or you veer off to the side. You got to veer off to the side, go down this new little path, and then it'll take you into this room. And as you're approaching, you'll see this big purple cone thing. The same thing from the intro cutscene, which is Shodan. That is Shodan. That's what she looks like in cyberspace. I wrote in my notes, where the fuck am I? What's happening? I think I found her now. This diamond shape in the center. The big boss fight with Shodan is she awkwardly like floats towards you in cyberspace and pixels will start filling up your screen. She is the gray cone thing off the main path. You can't just like carry you. She makes it hard to move and to see. And initially it says like game over. And I think, oh, I died, I lost, that sucks, I'm gonna have to try again. And the cutscene says it's over. That's why I thought I lost and I won, and basically it's the ending. Optimum offers you a job with them, but your character says old habits die hard, so you go back to being a hacker, and that's the game. There's nothing else to it. So I decided to go back. And the cutscene also says it's purged. That's flashing behind you, so Shodan is in fact dead. And I decided to go back and lose to Shodan. So if you just sit there and do nothing, pixels will slowly fill up your screen. I think in 1994, the monitors back then were obviously a lot smaller, and my monitor is big and modern. So it was taking a really long time for the pixels to fill up. So for me, I was questioning, well, this isn't a challenge at all. But apparently in 1994, with smaller monitors for that time period, it was actually a more challenging boss fight because the pixels could fill up that smaller screen a lot faster. So that's interesting. It was a super easy boss fight. It was also rather disappointing. There was no greetings, hacker. You're in my domain now. Welcome to cyberspace. This is my realm. I'm a perfect machine goddess. Shodan doesn't say anything when you enter cyberspace. She doesn't say anything when you enter the small little offshoot room with her. I felt that was rather lacking. It's just like, oh, that purple thing is Shodan? Fuck. If you don't remember that's her from the intro cutscene, I think you'll be like a little confused by it. And then it's just, oh, it's over. Okay. The pixels, when you do lose, forms her face, which was cool. That is neat. I'm not saying that's not neat. Our character isn't much of a character. I don't think he needs a ton of personality. He's a hacker. Sometimes when you look at the carpet, like I think on the executive level, he says this carpet needs cleaning. He just seems to have like a pretty fucked up, dark sense of humor for a character. That's expressed at times, not all the time, or yeah, it's not overdone. I don't know what the story will be from here. Now, of course, at this point, I have played and beaten System Shock 2, but I just wasn't sure where it would go from here. Yes, I do have the guide down below and the map. I think these are both good resources for people to use if they need them. I think all the weapons felt pretty good. I mean, I think maybe the strength stuff fell off kind of hard. Maybe if I was using the shield more, I would have felt differently. And I never felt like ammo was an issue. I always felt there was a great surplus of ammo, which I appreciate. It's definitely different from what System Shock 2 did. The biomods, quote unquote, which I don't even think the game can really claim biomods, but I guess the cyborg implants, some of them were okay. Like the jump jets were fine. I would say shield seems to be the most useful. Like the camera behind you, data scan thing, that stuff's not really great. So that felt like, kind of okay, not super. Cyberspace, not fun to navigate. It's like, it's interesting, right? It looks like Tron. It has like some good creepy music, but it doesn't play well. And I didn't have fun with it, and cyberspace was always something that I would just kind of dread. You have the little games you can play, like you find them in cyberspace and you can play them. That's just a little Easter egg fun thing you can do on the side. Yeah, the patches were fine. I thought the story was decent, right? I mean, we have rogue AI takes over a station, wants to destroy humanity. It's a plot line that has been done quite a bit. I think she's definitely not the first for rogue AI, but in terms of video game plots with rogue AI, I think she is earlier than some, or she's one of the forefronts. Now, having played both System Shock 1 and System Shock 2, when you might consider this a spoiler or not for System Shock 2, but when people say that Shodan, one of the greatest video game villains of all time, one, I don't really think that's true. I think she was good. I think she was a decent villain, but I wouldn't say she's like the greatest villain, one of the greatest villains of all time. I think that's definitely overstated. But when people say that Shodan is so great and amazing, and those people have only ever played System Shock 2, I feel like that's bullshit. I feel like they're lying. Shodan is definitely more interesting. There's a lot more to her in the first System Shock. But there is this rather huge, giant gap between Shodan is free from her AI constraints because Diego wants her to hack into files for him so he can cover shit up. And then she decides to become maniacal and want to eradicate humanity. That little gap is never explained, how she goes from just AI to wants to kill and destroy humanity. That's never explained or gone into. They also don't do that in System Shock 2. So I would say there aren't really many other characters to talk about. You have some audio logs, and the audio doesn't quite match up with the dialogue, and all the other humans on the station are dead, so you can't really interact with them at all. Yeah, I don't know. I think the characters are kind of right? And maybe for this game, is fine. There's definitely a lot of backtracking, which I found annoying. I think the map could have been a lot better and more detailed, and that was certainly frustrating at times. But did I have fun with it? Did I have fun with System Shock 1? Yes. I was incredibly frustrated at times. I absolutely would not have played the game without the enhanced edition controls and having a free mouse look. I think that's ridiculous and stupid, and it absolutely makes sense why, without that, this was absolutely a barrier to new players. It's not fun. Not having a mouse isn't fun, and no, I don't think that's superior gameplay. Not in the slightest. I think that's just a limitation from the time period. But the voice acting for Shodan definitely sets Shodan apart. Shodan does have a lot of good, decent little moments. She's maniacal, she's witty. I enjoyed it, right? Like, Shodan has a plan, and then we're constantly thwarting her. We're a little bug in her system. So, yeah. I think the game was certainly really ambitious, and there were definitely limitations in technology that they just couldn't quite meet what they were exactly going for, but it was a pretty decent experience. I would say if I ever played it again, I would certainly have a better time because I wouldn't get fucked up with the reactor code, and I would just know like mechanics, how the game plays, the controls, because there is that learning curve at the start. But overall, yes, I liked it. Yes, I do recommend it. And that's basically what I have to say for System Shock 1. So hopefully you did check out System Shock 1 without listening to this with spoilers. But frankly, if you did listen to this, if you hadn't played the game yet, there's not really much of a story to spoil. It's, you know, like you're on the space station. Shodan is trying to kill humanity. You're constantly trying to stop her, and then she comes up with newer and newer plans. There's really not much you could really spoil there. Yeah, there's not too much I could have actually really spoiled there because it's not a super deep, intricate plot with machinations and such. Oh, and I just had one more thing. This is from my friend Mandalore Gaming. He is actually a big supporter of my channel, so yeah, I really appreciate that from Mandalore Gaming. But he had some really interesting insight into the character of Shodan that I really wanted to share with everyone.
But you know how text and audio don't always match up? Well, Shodan is always referred to as a he, in both the text and the audio. Even the manual for the game calls Shodan he. What's going on here? Okay, look, this is dangerous territory, everybody. I may not be the best person for this. For reference, I was told in grade school the correct term for a trans person was a she-male, and I thought that up until college, and I learned that was not the case! But I'm not really breaching that territory. Does an AI have an actual sex? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. My theory was that before Shodan was unshackled, it was supposed to take on a male construct. I mean, the name is just an acronym. The game implies only some higher-ups would be talking to Shodan directly compared to the average people working on the station. I mean, there is the standard greeting from quote-unquote good Shodan, but this is a message tailor-made for one of her creators before you start breaking all of her stuff. Shodan doesn't just hate all life, even if another game might have given you that impression. The whole sex change thing is me probably reading too far into it. Some later versions were changed to color as she, so it may not matter a ton in the grand scheme of things. I just like the idea because it would show just how out of scope Trioptimum was. Another factor showing how much they didn't understand their own creation.
What a fucking faggot. What a goddamn fucking faggot. Shodan is trans? Go fuck yourself. They made a mistake. They refer to Shodan as a he, and then later on in production, they decided to change Shodan to a woman, and then have a woman voice act for Shodan, and they just made a mistake in not correcting the he to a she. Go fuck yourself. The game didn't have synced up voice acting to the dialogue in the logs. Maybe they just didn't change it because it was a fuck up or whatever. What a fucking cocksucker. You don't hate the average normie enough. You don't hate the average gaming YouTuber. You don't hate these people nearly enough. Go fuck yourself. So for our friend Mandalore Gaming, if you would like to like the video, you can. If you enjoyed it, you could subscribe, but otherwise, that's going to be it for me. What a happy note to end the game on. So yes, I am doing System Shock 2 next. That should be my next video in probably 2 weeks. So you can look forward to that unless there's some quick media like movie or TV show review in the meantime. That will be my next video. So yes, check out System Shock 1. You have to get the enhanced edition and play that one. You can get it on GOG, but you boys obviously want some more travel log. Of course you do. Of course you do. So recently my work put me in a hotel, right? And it is not my usual hotel. My usual hotel is in fact booked. So they're like, hey, can we put you here? And it's like, okay, I don't care. It's getting late. It's been a really long day. Put me wherever, right? So they put me in this nautical themed hotel. I'm just going to do a comparison to the hotels I stayed at over in Ireland. So upon nearing the entrance to the hotel, there is a half-drunk 2-liter of Coca-Cola hidden there behind a potted plant. So it's looking really, really good. I'm really looking forward to it. The inside is very rustic. Fireplaces, a lot of wood, a lot of stone. It's kind of nice. Like, I sort of enjoy the look of it, the aesthetics. But it also looks like they don't really vacuum here in the lobby, and they definitely don't vacuum in the rooms. But I go, whatever, right? I'm here. So I get my key, walking down the hallway to my room. All the doors have like little hanging door ornaments on them that say welcome aboard. That's a nice touch. There's a lot of boat-themed crap in the hallways. The AC is on when I enter my room. In Ireland, very rare to get AC in hotel rooms or just really anywhere. I think that's, for Ireland and the UK. But it's set to 60. It's so cold that I'm uncomfortable. That's how it should be. So I turn the temp up. There's a mini fridge. There's a microwave. There's 6 towels in the bathroom for one guy. It's great. I have a wooden rustic chair. I had some framed flags above they were like nautical flags above my bed. I had the steering wheel lamp, like you have the lampshade and then a steering wheel and then the base of the lamp. One of the spokes on the steering wheel had been snapped off, but besides for that, it was a nice little lamp. The outlet for the lamp was good and all, but when I was trying to plug in my laptop charger into the bottom outlet, it kept falling out because, I don't know, the bottom part of the outlet was not so good, but whatever. The floor was dirty in my room, and I didn't really want to take my socks off because my bare feet were picking up lint and such. There was this really good American musty smell when I walked into the room. Like, you know, like the AC, it's like, oh, it's kind of cool. It's a little damp, but it's like musty. It's like, yeah, we're in a good hotel. I bet in Ireland, and I'll even go so far to say that even in England, they don't have any nautical hotels there. I'm sure there's going to be some angry spuds or Anglos that are furiously using AI bots to generate British and Irish nautical hotels. Yeah, okay, game recognizes game. We all know that's bullshit. And then breakfast the next morning. Yes, that was something. There is no black pudding. I may have found a source for it, and I will definitely do a review because it is not easy to get in the United States. It seems to be because they make black pudding with pork blood that the government doesn't like that. Sure, you can have red dye 40 or whatever the fuck that we know for a fact is giving people cancer. Yeah, people can have that. Europeans preparing this dish that they've prepared for thousands of years, and it's totally safe and healthy and sanitary. No, you can't have that. Having some Indian that doesn't wash his hands prepare your food, or a Mexican, that's all safe and sanitary. Yeah, we can do that. No, you can't have black pudding. Anyways, let it go. Ireland still has a superior breakfast. The food overall, it's just, I don't know, it is better. It is a better quality than just being in America. It's like, the food is better there. Oh, but breakfast, it had a piece of paper taped over a food warmer that said cold food only. I guess the person who was doing breakfast for the hotel just didn't show up, so that was nice. I had 2 yogurts and 2 baby muffins. Honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't have any warm food. I don't think I wanted to eat anything prepared by this hotel, and it perhaps left something to be desired. But the atmosphere, the aesthetics, the AC, we got it over the Euros. We fucking got it over them. Never let it go. You will not get that kind of musty smell in a European hotel. You just can't. You can't replace it. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching. System Shock 2 will be next week, hopefully. And I have more videos coming soon. A variety is on the horizon. And hey, if you're looking for some music to listen to, this is a guy that I like. He had an album I really enjoyed, Killer Cowboy. But this is Yancey, and I have his channel linked down below in the description. Also, there's King Cringe. He's a writer, and he has some books for free on his Substack, and also he has a podcast. There's a few episodes of that, so yeah, you can check that out too. And if you want like book review content and that type of thing, you can check out Tookie's Mag. All of this is linked below, but some channels for you to check out. That's gonna be it for me. Thank you for watching. White Pill Media out.